Story 1. During the pandemic, I randomly picked up Animal Crossing after never playing it before or doing much on my children's Switch aside from the occasional Mario Kart. I logged 695 hours on my beautiful island. I swear it got me through some rough times. I know that's not much compared to some here, but for a 40-year-old mom of 3 and a non-gamer, it was a lot. Story 2. I have spent months playing Skyrim. The dragons and endless quests kept me hooked. Don't even get me started on Minecraft. I would spend entire weekends building elaborate castles. Story 3. The average full-time job is 2,080 hours for the year. I mention this because I have spent several years working on the Elder Scrolls games. Story 4. World of Warcraft, approximately 8,000 hours of playtime. Hearthstone, an extensive amount of playtime with 4 golden heroes. Minecraft, extensive playtime. Counter-Strike, over 4,000 hours. Realm of the Mad God, over 4,000 hours. Terraria, over 1,000 hours. Civilization 6, over 1,000 hours. I apologize for not having a way to confess this. Story 5. EverQuest. There's a reason they call it Evercrack. Dark Age of Camelot. Star Siege. Tribes. Those were good times. Story 6. Months? If a game isn't enjoyable for a few years, it's not worth considering. Story 7. Ultima Online has been a part of my life for 27 years, and I still play regularly with a group of friends. It's one of the few games where latency isn't a major issue, allowing me to enjoy playing with people from diverse backgrounds, including 2 players from Italy, 2 from Germany, a few from Turkey, 1 from Scotland, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Argentina, and several from the United States and Canada. Story 8. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I spent thousands of hours on each. I have only spent about 80 hours on Baldur's Gate 3 so far. I just don't do marathon gaming sessions anymore. Story 9. Cities, Skylines, The Sims, Minecraft, Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls Online, and Tetris probably would take over a year. I have been playing them in various forms for about 30 years. It was one of the few games we had for Game Boy when I was a kid, and it was a family favorite. My mom would definitely have the highest time spent playing among us all. Story 10. KSP. Especially now that I have volumetric clouds and amazing visual modifications. I haven't built anything new in almost a year. I just hop on the game and fly around in one of my pre-built vehicles for fun. Story 11. I argued with someone online on PlayStation and checked his profile, which showed 6,600 hours in Fortnite. Story 12. So far, I have spent over 1,000 hours on the Dawn of War 2 series, and I am approaching the 1,000-hour mark in Mechabellum. Story 13. I enjoy playing Pokemon, Minecraft, and Fortnite because I like a little action. Also, there is a Star Wars event in Fortnite tomorrow, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Story 14. Morrowind is my forever game. I have been playing it on and off since 2004, when I was around 11 years old. I am now 32. It's been many years spent in Vardenfell. Story 15. I am a jumper, abandoning the game for seasons. However, I have been playing Realm of the Mad God since it was a flash game on Congregate around 2011. Story 16. Months? Battlefield 4. Jetting, helicoptering, sniping, laser marking, dropping supply crates on campers, and off-road driving. Story 17. Madden and Basketball General Manager. I played the games for such an extended period that they had to literally end my franchises. Story 18. I used to build levels for multi-user dungeons. I spent all my free time either creating levels or playing them. I lost a lot of time to them. This is the reason I never played World of Warcraft. I no longer play games that don't have an end. Story 19. Elden Ring and its current progress indicate that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 will have a replay every few months. Story 20. Not sure if it counts compared to everyone else's answers, but I have just over 2,000 hours in Power Wash Simulator. Story 21. World of Tanks. I was a commander of a top 100 clan for about 9 years, and now I am a member of a top 20 clan. Story 22. Civilization 1 to 4 has probably been around for years now. I actually rebuilt an old computer just so I could keep playing it, at least in single-player mode. We spent many hours day after day playing Mortal Kombat, Super Mario, and Toe Jam and Earl back in the day. Story 23. Until this last year, I would have answered the International Federation of Association Football. Now I switch it up occasionally, but I have been enjoying Fortnite with my girlfriend. Story 24. Guild Wars 2, Legend of Dragoon, Mega Man Battle Network series, mostly because I get lost in the dungeons, Skyrim, Fallout, New Vegas, Need for Speed. Underground 2, took me a while to figure out how to achieve 100%. Terraria, Grand Theft Auto Online, Far Cry 6, Tales of Vesperia, still love that game. Favorite of the series, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Shin Megami Tensei 4. Apocalypse, Conception 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Vampire Survivors, Valheim. Story 25. Pokemon and the Monster Hunter series. It's been years since I played either of them, but they were great experiences. Story 26. 42 minutes. Roller Coaster Tycoon, Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, EverQuest 2, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, Day of Defeat, Left 4 Dead, Diablo 2, and Need for Speed Underground. There are many more, but that's just a quick look at the nostalgia archives. Story 27. Pokemon, probably the most hours spent on Crystal or Heart Gold. Zelda, The Sims, Harvest Moon 64, Rest in Peace, Junior High, and Fallout. Story 28. EVE Online is no longer of interest. More recently, I played Death Stranding, achieving maximum accomplishments 3 times on 2 platforms with a total of 5 playthroughs. Story 29. I spent 3 years playing Sea of Thieves exclusively. That game hooked me like no other. I became highly skilled at player versus player combat, which is unusual for me, as I'm typically not that great in competitive settings. It's the only game that inspired me to genuinely strive to be the best. While I didn't reach that goal, I did manage to defeat some of the top players in the game's competitive tournaments. I fell a bit short, but I was ultimately content with my progress. Story 30. Roller Coaster Tycoon. Even if you asked me this when I was 10 years old, it would be the same. I have spent more time on that game than any other, except maybe Mario Kart for the Nintendo DS. Story 31. Skyrim, Minecraft, The Witcher 3, The Sims, Black Desert Online, Dark Souls. I love gaming. There are just too many games to name. Story 32. PlanetSide and PlanetSide 2. I likely had a month or 2 of playtime across all characters before the official servers shut down. In the second game, I have 6 characters, varying from about 30 days played at the lowest to my most played character with just over a year of playtime. It was free to play, ran on my old laptop, and I had a lot of downtime between tasks with a large group of friends playing it for years. It's also around 12 years old and still active, so half an hour 5 days a week really adds up. Story 33. I'm old. I played the Baldur's Gate series, Age of Empires, and Rogue during the 1970s for days, along with various adventure games from that time. Story 34. I played this nearly constantly. Back then, there was nothing like it. Being able to play a cooperative game with other people and communicate with them in a private team chat was incredible. Half-Life, Half-Life 2, and then Counter-Strike. Unreal Tournament. Nowadays, Grand Theft Auto 5. Story 35. I have put in over 2,700 hours since launch. It would be more, but I started working a lot of overtime last year. Story 36. Skyrim, Fallout 4, Mass Effect Trilogy, Masters of Orion 2, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe, SimCity 2000. Story 37. I spent 4,000 hours on RuneScape in high school, on and off. I learned how to read market trends, avoid scams, and manage my time better. I made many good friends, but also some deplorable enemies. Did I have a good time? Absolutely. Would I go back? No. RuneScape, I will see you in therapy. Story 38. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have been trying to achieve platinum status in the game and its expansions. It is the largest Assassin's Creed game ever made, consisting of 5 different world maps and 2 expansions. I have invested over 100 hours easily. Story 39. I played Final Fantasy VII while living in Japan, but I hadn't mastered the language yet. There's a plot quest in the middle that requires you to go up a ramp in a junkyard after the game has become open world. I used pre-game guides and walkthroughs available from 1997. I spent weeks just wandering and leveling up until I stumbled across the stage entrance. I encountered the same issue with Resident Evil, where I stalled out because I wasn't literate enough at the time. Story 40, Final Fantasy Tactics, all max and side quests. Final Fantasy VII, I was addicted to Chocobo racing and mastered Materia. Parasite Eve, played 77 times for alternate ending. Final Fantasy X, all side quests. Final Fantasy XI Online, over 3,400 days. Silent Hill series, Fatal Frame series. The worst was SimCity and SimCity 3000. Story 41. The Sims series across all its different iterations had a significant impact on me in the past. I especially enjoyed designing houses. Story 42. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. God help me. I would be up until sunrise and then have to work at 8 a.m. I would spend half my day thinking of the moves to make when I got back to playing it again as soon as I got home. It was like a drug to me. I had to actually put the disc in my firebox. Story 43. Minecraft, Cities, Skylines, The Sims, Star Wars, Battlefront 2, Grand Theft Auto 5. If we're just picking a single game and not franchises, then I have about 6,000 hours in Cities. Skylines 1 compared to my 1,200 hours in Cities. Skylines 2. I'm not sure if I played The Sims 2 or The Sims 3 more, but it's one of the two. However, none of them come close to Minecraft. I haven't played much recently until a couple of weeks ago with my crush, who wanted me to play Sky Factory with her. From 2009 to around 2016, I was genuinely playing on average about 7 hours every day. On busy days, I'd only play an hour or two. On days off, I'd play all night. Either way, I was playing daily. Sometimes I'd go a full weekend without proper sleep. I would come home from school, play until I couldn't keep my eyes open, take a quick nap, and then get back to it. I probably hated Mondays more than Garfield when I was a teen, but I did it to myself with my intense Minecraft obsession. I also thought it would be amusing to mention that I'd watch live streams from Minecon every year and, no joke, cry because I wanted to be there so badly. Story 44. In the mid-2000s, I was unemployed and very depressed. Then Mass Effect came. It literally saved my life and gave me a purpose to keep going. I am genuinely alive today thanks to that game. During that time, I spent a solid 8 months applying to every job I saw while maintaining my sanity through saving the galaxy. I cannot recommend this series enough. Story 45. Destiny. Just over 6,000 hours over 10 years. A bittersweet ending, filled with a lifetime of amazing memories with friends. Story 46. Diablo 3. Sid Meier's Pirates. Civilization, Alpha Centauri, recently re-downloaded from GOG, the Elder Scrolls series from Arena to Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Fallout 4. My husband is the main Fallout fan in the house and has been playing since the first game. I always favored the Elder Scrolls until Fallout 4 was released. Dragon Age I-4, Starfield, Munchkin Digital, Talisman, Hoyle card games from the original release to the latest version I have on my computer. Wizardry series starting from the first game. Might and Magic I-8 The World of Xen. Dungeons and Dragons Gold Box series. Ultima Online and Asheron's Call. Both from the beta until all the twinks drained the fun out of them for me. Those two are the reason I no longer play massively multiplayer online role-playing games. I know there are more, but those are the only ones I can recall tonight. Story 47. Forza Horizon 4. I think I'm closing in on 6,500 hours since it launched back in 2018. COVID-19 was a wild time. I easily spent half of those hours in just over an 18-month span. Story 48. I have been playing Fortnite from the very beginning for about 8 years now. The same goes for Rocket League, which I started playing when it became free-to-play. Story 49. Fallout 3 and 4. I've spent more time in the wasteland than in my career and college, probably. I wish I could get back into it like that, but I have kids now, and I'm sober. Ah, the good old days. I guess it will just be memory lane for now. Story 50. Dumb economic simulators nobody else plays. Capitalism Labs and Wall Street Radar. I credit Capitalism Labs for helping me start in manufacturing, logistics, and product development. Now, I own 3 manufacturing facilities. Story 51. More than 1 month that I can remember. World of Warcraft, Wizard 101, Pirate 101, Summoner's War, Pokemon various versions, Spyro, different console versions, Animal Crossing, Neopets from my childhood, Guild Wars, Dofus, Phobies. Story 52, World of Warships. There is so much geometry, strategy, and clever tactics one can take on the board. It includes both big-picture strategic plan movement and intense, heart-pounding dodging of torpedoes and high-explosive shells. The game features excellent music, culture, and pin-up sailor characters, along with a splash of anime. This Halloween artwork is impressive. There is history and vocabulary to learn, along with calculations for damage per minute and angle of penetration that you perform in your head quickly. There is a catalog of information including armor layouts, armor thickness, speed, detection range, and other factors that can turn you into an effective player against those who lack knowledge. The ranked season, especially the older ones, can be incredibly frustrating, often leaving you wishing for a competent team. Have I mentioned the phenomenal artwork? The game also includes spaceships. I haven't played the game in months, yet I could still promote it. I dislike how much time I have invested in that game, I dislike how skilled I am at it, and I should really log back in to collect some free rewards and continue to lose more time. That account is worth thousands, possibly $10,000. I have a ship called the Benham, which is extremely rare and unique. I know the Atego better than I know my childhood bicycle. My Kurfürst has filed a restraining order for harassment and abuse. I'm expressing my thoughts. It is a challenging experience and I crave more. Story 53. Does Magic the Gathering count? Even if it's just Arena, it would still count. Story 54. Dota 2 took years of my life and all it gave me was trust issues and carpal tunnel. Still queuing, though. Story 55. Phantasy Star Online for the Dreamcast, version 2 of the game, and then when it came out for the GameCube. Story 56. Minecraft, I think I have spent 3 times as much time playing it compared to my next highest game. I will keep playing until I die. Story 57. Pen and Paper Dungeons and Dragons. 15,000 to 18,000 hours. XCOM 2. 2,230 hours, according to Steam. Baldur's Gate 3. 1,600 hours. Story 58. PC. Commandos Behind Enemy Lines. Command and Conquer. Yuri's Revenge. Age of Empires. Counter-Strike. Just Cause 3. Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas. FIFA 2009. Sega games, Bomberman, Soccer, etc. Mobile. Call of Duty. Heyday. Clash Royale. Story 59. World of Warcraft. Diablo 3, RimWorld, Cities, Skylines, Borderlands, Fallout 3 and Fallout, New Vegas, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind and The Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. Story 60. Definitely Path of Exile. I already have around 4,000 hours in, considering I only started playing during the trial of the Ancestors League. My numbers are small compared to others, though. Story 61. Years? Webkins. A Childhood. Assassin's Creed. Black Flag took me a long time because I didn't get to play often. Skyrim, Fortnite, Gears of War. Then the classics like Battlefront 2. My brother and I spent a summer exclusively playing that. Edit. How could I forget Minecraft? That's been ongoing for about 10 years. Story 62. I have completed 2.5 months in Rust across platforms. I would have more time, but I often get bored and frequently change the games I play. I have around 800 games, so it takes a while to cycle back to them. I can no longer sit and play on my PC for hours without discomfort, so I stopped playing on Steam. Rust on console, which I played from the closed beta, became increasingly disappointing and broken with each update due to the lack of improvement from the developers. I stopped playing entirely a couple of years ago. Story 63. The Binding of Isaac. Rebirth. More than 3,000 hours. I still go back sometimes. And wow, I don't know how many hours. Story 64. Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 13 Trilogy. Kingdom Hearts. All entries. And Destiny 1. Story 65. Animal Crossing was played for a year to experience all the events without time traveling. In Monster Hunter Rise, weekly content was regularly released, which felt just right. A new 1-hour challenge was provided once a week, creating a comfortable experience similar to watching a new TV episode. Story 66. Fallout 4 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The former made me fall in love with video games, while the latter made me feel frustrated every time I finished playing it. Story 67. Fallout consumed months of my time. Each of the games, including the online version, took significant time as well. Skyrim was another major time sink, with weeks and months spent playing that game. Story 68. Stardew Valley. Every time I stop playing, I come back a month later because I miss the game. I've logged about 500 hours and plan to reach 1,000 hours. Story 69. I have been playing Rocket League for 10 years. If I had to guess, I probably have 4,000 to 5,000 hours across different accounts. Before you ask, I am still not very good. Story 70. Mario Maker inspired me to create levels, and I spent over 50 hours on each one. I uploaded more than 40 levels. Story 71. Diablo 3 has captivated players throughout its entire lifespan. An unusual experience from my college days was playing Soldier of Fortune 2 multiplayer, which kept me engaged one summer. It was my favorite game. Story 72. Warframe is all-consuming. The majority of my time recently has been spent decorating my ship and assembling furniture. Story 73. Unfortunately, I played Overwatch on console until about level 700, then switched to PC and reached level 800. I am still disappointed that I didn't get to level 1200 on a single account. Once Overwatch 2 was released, account merging became possible, but it didn't matter because I spent 2 years trying to earn back all the golden guns and items I wanted. My favorite character, Doomfist, was changed and is just not the same. I hope someone is enjoying the game, but I have been about 2 years sober at this point. Story 74. Months are relative since I am a casual gamer. In any case, the games I have spent the most hours on are Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Exiom, Enemy Unknown, Exiom, Enemy Within, Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, and lastly Terraria, Stardew Valley, and No Man's Sky, which all don't have a definitive ending and are ongoing, limited only by one's imagination. Story 75. Scrap Mechanic. I can build anything. A clock, a tank, a mechanically correct car, an intercontinental ballistic missile. Story 76. Need for Speed 1996, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, Duke Nukem 3D, Unreal Tournament, PlanetSide 2, EVE Online, Elite Dangerous, and Star Citizen. Story 77. For those who do not want to do the calculations, 30 days multiplied by 24 hours per day equals 720 hours. For me, the answer is Guild Wars 2. I do not know the exact number of hours I invested in that game, but I believe it is over 10,000. So I did not just spend months on it. It is more than a year. 365 days multiplied by 24 hours per day equals 8,760 hours. I am not actively playing right now, but it is a lot of fun. Aside from that, I think only Civilization V and maybe Anno 1800 exceed the 720-hour mark. Story 78. Factorio, RimWorld, Football Manager, Civilization 2, Dyson Sphere Program, Satisfactory, and Skyrim. But by far, Factorio wins with over 3,000 hours played. Story 79. Ragnarok, Skyrim, Genshin Impact, Xenoblade Games, large Zelda titles, Minecraft, and Super Smash Bros. Story 80. Skyrim. I have around 9,000 hours across all platforms and re-releases. I just started playing Oblivion Remastered, and I'm scared. Story 81. Minecraft. Meanwhile, I delved into Fallout. My playtime in Like a Dragon or Yakuza is also increasing. Story 82, Half-Life 2, every few years I do a full playthrough. It's still great. Occasionally, I also join a team deathmatch. Story 83, World of Warcraft, Borderlands, mostly 2, but including all of them, Tropico 6, Gladius, Warhammer 40,000, and Skyrim. At least 1 month minimum for each, definitely more for the first 2 listed. There may be additional titles I am forgetting that qualify. Story 84. It's difficult not to invest over a month in most casual games. I have spent literal years on a few games. Months is an extremely low estimate. Story 85. Mount and Blade Warband, 5,678 hours. About 1,000 of those were spent on the native game before I tried my first modification. I now force myself not to play it and focus on other games. I haven't played it since the end of last summer, but I'm definitely feeling the urge to play it now. The next highest game on Steam is Team Fortress 2, with 1,512 hours. In the early 2000s, I played Champions of Norath on PlayStation 2. I definitely logged over 1,000 hours on that game. Before Champions, I spent a lot of time on Perfect Dark for Nintendo 64, mostly playing multiplayer against bots. I probably invested around 1,000 hours there as well. Story 86. Battlefield Saga, World of Warcraft, Xbox One, Oblivion, Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls Online, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Mass Effect 1-4, The Division 1, but now I have no time to play. Story 87. Destiny 2. I'm ashamed of my hour count. Feels like an addiction and a job combined. I'm quitting right now, going cold turkey. Story 88. Old Days? RuneScape and Age of Empires 1 and 2. Nothing recent, maybe Battlefield 1 and Ghost Recon Wildlands. Story 89. The Sims is a game I love. I have spent many hours happily fulfilling my creative potential while playing it. I still enjoy it and will play whenever I get the chance. I believe I first started playing when I was 9 years old. Story 90. Genshin Impact as an adult. The Sims, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and some others that I may be forgetting from my childhood. Story 91. Every Bethesda game in the last 25 years, with the exception of Starfield, the original 2003 Call of Duty and Call of Duty 2, The Sims 1-3, Halo 1 to Reach, Battlefield 1, and Pokemon Generation 1-3. Story 92. I have played Roblox for so long that I can't provide an exact number. However, I have spent at least 7 years playing for at least 1 hour each day and 4 to 5 hours on weekends. I can estimate that I have played for a total of approximately 2,000 hours. Story 93. The better question is which ones I haven't played. I've spent years on Atari 2600 games like Space Invaders or Pac-Man, years on NES Mario games, and years on Earthbound. Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 each got a year of my time. I've played StarCraft, We Love Katamari, The Long Dark, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and other Call of Duty titles, No Man's Sky, Grand Theft Auto 4 and V, Hearthstone, most Fallout games, RimWorld, and Stardew Valley for years or nearly that long. It goes on and on. I'm finally about to start Red Dead Redemption 2, knowing I'll be into it for probably about a year, so I'm finishing a few titles first to make room. Want to know what my Steam backlog looks like? Portal 1 and 2. That's it. I don't get games and not play them. I really play my games intensely. Story 94. Mount and Bannerlord 2. I spent 4 months playing it, nearly the same amount of time I spent a decade playing The Sims 4. That's around 700 hours. Story 95. Minecraft. I have never tried to complete it. I think the main quest line is quite silly and too difficult. Instead, I become an explorer, mapping out as much of the world as possible. I find it very calming. Story 96. Hypixel Skyblock. Persona 5. Xenoblade Chronicles. Chrono Trigger. Final Fantasy IV for Nintendo DS. Mindustry. Hill Climb Racing 2. Guacamelee Gold 2. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.